Let's talk about the Jack Smith filing, part of this whole equation with trial attorney John Fishwick, who served as a U.S. attorney for the Western District of Virginia. John, good morning to you. You know, I think a lot of people at home are scratching their heads saying, but didn't the Supreme Court just grant him immunity? So explain his argument here and how sound is his case.
So, Markie, as you know, in July of this year, the United States Supreme Court issued a significant decision on presidential immunity for former President Trump. The Supreme Court basically said, hey, look, if it's an official act that the president did, he has total immunity, and that means he can't be criminally prosecuted for it. If it's an unofficial act or a private act, he can be prosecuted for it. The Supreme Court did not give a lot of guidance on what's official and what's unofficial. And so Jack Smith has issued a new indictment, and yesterday was released a 165-page document where he says, hey, look, the former president did all of these acts that are in our indictment. They're private, and therefore we can prosecute him. This is going to be a long and winding road to decide what is private and what is official. But if it's private, he can be prosecuted for it. If it's official, he cannot.
Yeah. What do you think most legal minds, including yourself, think of that? You know, whether his acts were private or official?
Well, Markie, that's a great question. So the Supreme Court decision was very broad protection for former President Trump. It was a broad view of presidential power, which basically says, you know, if you want the president to do the job, he can't be looking over his shoulder every time as to whether he's broken the law or not. And most acts by the president are presumed to be official, acts for which he cannot be prosecuted. So a lot of these conversations with Vice President Pence, which are at the heart of this case, is when President Trump was president, Vice President Pence was vice president. So they look like official conduct between the two of them. Jack Smith saying, hey, no, he was running for re-election, therefore we can say this is private. I think it's uphill for Jack Smith to say that. The Supreme Court decision was very broad. He's taken his best shot to say it was all private. I think that's going to be uphill for him. I think either Judge Chutkan or the judges are on appeal are going to say a lot of these things that former President Trump did are official, and therefore he cannot be prosecuted for them.
John, what do you make of the timing of the unsealing of the prosecution's case? I mean, 34 days out to the election.
Yeah, so what Jack Smith will say is, hey, the judge ordered us to file this brief now. But I think President Trump has a good point to make. Former President Trump has a good point to make. Jack Smith could have said, hey, look, let's put all of these all of these filings that we're going to make about this case, about what's official, what's unofficial, let's put all of these off until after the election. After all, there's no rush here. There's no way there's going to be a trial anytime soon. So Jack Smith could have said, to avoid having this look like politics, to avoid having this look like we're trying to influence the election, let's just put off filing all this stuff until after the election. He didn't do that, so I think former President Trump does have a bone to pick there.
Yeah, and we'll see what the defense's strategy ends up looking like here, and whether or not this is that October surprise everybody has been talking about and warning of. John Fishwick, always a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. Also, don't forget to click that red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.